So today, we're diving into this hidden revolution that's happening right where neurodiversity, work, and AI all meet. It's one of those stories about a huge problem that companies just aren't solving, and the people who are, well, taking matters into their own hands. You hear it all the time, right? Companies are talking a big game about neurodiversity. But here's the real question we've got to ask. Are our workplaces actually ready to support neurodivergent employees? The data, well, it suggests there's a major disconnect. And wow, this data, it just lays the whole problem bare. When you ask people to rate how well their workplace is adapted for neurodivergent folks, they give it a pretty dismal score, just 3.8 out of 10. And they think society as a whole is even less informed, scoring it a 3. I mean, those numbers scream that there's a massive disconnect, and it really sets the stage for a paradox right at the heart of the modern office. All right, so let's jump right into our first section, the workplace paradox. We're going to dig into this weird gap between what companies and employees say they know and what's actually happening on the ground. So get this, awareness? That's not the issue here. A huge 2024 survey found that over 98% of employees had heard of conditions like ADHD and autism. I mean, awareness is pretty much universal. And you'd think that awareness would lead to comfort, right? And it kind of does. On a scale of 1 to 10, people rated their comfort level working with colleagues with ADHD and autism well above a 7. Those are really positive numbers. So, if everyone's aware and everyone's comfortable, what's the problem? This right here is the paradox. Because despite all of that awareness and personal comfort, over 60% of those same people believe their workplaces are doing a bad job of adapting for their neurodivergent colleagues. It's this huge chasm between how people feel individually and what the company is actually doing. So, where does this gap coming from? Well, a lot of it comes down to a really shallow understanding. Sure, people recognize some of the traits, but these damaging myths just won't go away. I mean, just look at this data here. Almost 20% of people still incorrectly connect autism with intellectual disability. And you gotta ask, when myths like that are still floating around, how can you possibly build a truly supportive place to work? And that, right there, is the turning point. Because when the office isn't providing the tools you need, you don't just sit around and wait. You start building your own. Okay, so that brings us to our next big idea here. We're calling it the user-led AI revolution. And this isn't some top-down corporate software. No, this is a grassroots thing. People are grabbing AI and literally building a digital bridge for themselves to navigate a world that, frankly, wasn't built for them. And the main tool they're using? It's the large language model, or LLM. You've probably used one. We're talking about things like ChatGPT. These are powerful AIs that can understand and create text that feels incredibly human, and people are using them for all sorts of things. So what are people actually doing with these things? Well, when you look at what's happening in online neurodivergent communities, you start to see these amazing patterns of creative, super practical uses. They're using them to translate social cues, manage tasks that feel overwhelming, help regulate their emotions, and even just to brainstorm ideas. Which brings us to what we're calling the AI Support Toolkit. We're about to look at the specific tools that real users have put together for themselves to handle the challenges they run into every single day, especially at work. First up, communication. And wow, this quote from a user in an online autism community, it says it all. They literally see the AI as their human-to-autist translator. What a powerful way to put it. So think of the AI as this personal communication coach. It's incredibly versatile. You can ask it to decode the unwritten social rules in a confusing meeting. People rely on it to draft emails to make sure the tone, which can cause so much anxiety, is just right. They can even role-play tough conversations, getting practice in a totally safe, judgment-free zone before the real thing. Okay, the next tool in this kit. This one is all about emotional support. And this quote gets right to the heart of it. The AI gives them something that is just so hard to find anywhere else. An interaction that is completely, 100% free of judgment. And this is where the AI really becomes more than just a piece of tech, It's like an emotional support system. It can be a talking buddy that's always there, which helps with loneliness. It's a safe place to just vent when feelings get overwhelming. And, maybe most importantly, because it doesn't have feelings to hurt, it can be this uniquely patient, non-judgmental listener. All right, and finally, let's get practical and talk about productivity. This quote just nails what a game changer this is for anyone who struggles with executive function. All those mental skills for planning, organizing, and managing your time. As an executive assistant, this AI is an absolute powerhouse. You got a massive, complex project staring you down? Boom. The AI can break it into tiny, manageable steps. You're given a 50-page document, it can pull out the key ideas in seconds. And if your brain feels like a storm of scattered thoughts, it can help you organize that chaos into a clear, logical structure. But okay, let's be real. This bridge people are building, it's not perfect. It's very much a work in progress. And the people building it, they know its flaws better than anyone. And this really gets to the heart of the gap between the hope and the reality of AI right now. On one hand, you hope it'll understand your unique way of thinking, but the reality is it often has a built-in neurotypical bias. You want it to help you find your voice, but its writing can sound generic and not like you at all. And you want it to just adapt to you, but truthfully, you still have to give it very specific, precise instructions to get it to work well. And the users themselves have some really big concerns. There's a real fear of relying on it too much and letting their own social skills slide. There's also this worry that an AI friend could become a substitute for, instead of a bridge to, real human connection. And then, of course, you've got the current tech frustrations, like being stuck with text-only conversations and the constant risk that the AI might just make stuff up. So where does all this leave us? What's the path forward from here? Because this user-led movement, it's not just a cool little story. It's basically a blueprint showing us how to finish the incredible bridge these folks have already started. And this, right here, is probably the most important thing to take away from all of this. The way neurodivergent people are hacking AI isn't just some tech trend. It's like a mirror, reflecting back exactly what they need and what they are not getting at work. This AI toolkit they've built isn't just clever. It's a roadmap, a precise blueprint for what real, meaningful inclusion actually looks like. And so we're left with one big final question. Neurodivergent users are acting as the architects and the construction crew for this bridge. They're showing tech companies exactly what kind of tools are needed, and they're showing employers exactly where the support gaps are. The question is, who will listen? Who's going to step up and help them finish it?